same 3 bans for BLG all 4 games. But this time, Ahri is back in Knight's hand, and you need to deny the Wukong right here, or it's 100% win rate, Joe. Come on.
I mean, the Vi's pretty good with the Ahri as well, to be honest. It feels like whichever way around, Kanavi will be happy. But I think the Vi, very good for Shun specifically. Like, Shun has looked very good on this pick, not just in this series, but across the whole split as well. Will be just that comfort locked in for Shun.
There's a very big opportunity for Yagao to pick the LeBlanc here. Paired alongside this Vi, I believe Yagao had one of the most insane runs on this LeBlanc. I think it was like 15-1 or something. Man was holding on to everything he's got to keep BLG in the game, and they did end up winning.
Historically, a great LeBlanc. I'll hold on to that point. I just want to see where they go with AD characters. BLG obviously hovering for quite a while. Back onto this Xayah that had some pretty good impact in game number 3. And we knew that JDG were going to be going for the jungle here. It's been a handshake all series long.
It's kind of weird to see the priority BLG have on this Xayah, right? Where we've seen them ban it in one of the games and we've seen it lock it in consistently. Whereas JDG, they've not even sniffed at the Xayah. They've shown absolutely no interest in the pick whatsoever. Very different read on the meta right now. Is the Jinx and that Wukong you talked about locked in.
Yep, it's going to be standard for the... to the LeBlanc hop, everyone. It's going to get all...
Oh! Even better! Even better is Bin's Fiora. Oh, we got a special game at our hands here.
A game 4 with Bin's Fiora. They're teasing the LeBlanc, but it even gets a step higher. Now my biggest question, Kitty, is do they just keep banning away these top lane champions to give Bin more of a comfort?
I mean, 369 has to respond with fire to fight fire. Bin disrespect, blocking in the Fiora blind. I mean, taking the Sign and the Renekton away, but maybe we'll see a Camille. We haven't seen 369's Camille in a very long time.
We're going to see Cassante.
Don't say that, no!
I will say, for anyone that hasn't been watching LPL so far this split, the reason we're so excited about the Fiora, that has been banned 33% of the time against BLG this split.
1/3.
It's not even meta. It's not even a meta pick. In a third of the games BLG play, it gets banned away from Bin. He is a monster on the Fiora. Gets his Blitzcrank banned, but he'll go for a different hook champion.
Okay, the fresh standardized stuff here would mean that the bottom lane gets a little bit more exciting as well as On in game 1. Wasn't able to do too much with this.
I wouldn't be surprised if Missing does just opt into the Tahm Kench if On does go for the... Ooh, it's going to be a Syndra lock-in in that mid lane. Yagao is knowing what Knight needs to make these leads roll for JDG, and he's just denying all the lane priority that they're looking for.
It's crazy again. When you think of Syndra, you think of Knight, but against this Ahri, mid's going to get real fun real fast as, hey, we are getting... I guess the stereotype champions. 369 loves Gragas. We were saying Cassante, but against this Fiora, do we get to finally see it? Yes, we do.
Honestly, I'm more glad that he picked the Gragas outside of Cassante because we did see the Cassante having a bit of slack in that game 3. It is going to be either the Tahm Kench or the Thresh lock-in here. I kind of do prefer the Thresh a little bit more because you have that urgency, the hook that can get onto the enemy team and force plays through bottom lane.
And on top of that, when you think of classic Missing, when he was Elk's support, Thresh was the champion that he really made his name on, consistently keeping Elk alive, making things happen. The Nautilus to answer from On. And I'm much preferring this draft than what we saw in the previous game. So much proactivity on both sides and ability to make things happen in the early game.
And Kitty, look at those lanes on BLG, right? Look at the proactivity that Munchables just mentioned. Amplify it with how this laning phase is going to go against a team like JDG.
I mean, I'm just staring at the solo laners right now because Syndra, it is very powerful when it does come to lane priority, but she lacks mobility. So if Kanavi decides to make a very early trip towards that mid lane, burns the flash, then Yagao is unable to walk up in that mid lane, and that really restricts how Shun is able to play the game because we've seen this Vi vs Wukong matchup 3 times in a row for tonight now.
His first domestic title in his first split. That's what's on the line. Can he create history here in the LPL? As both these teams who are representing at MSI also looking for a spot straight in the group stage. The crowd is fired up for our game 4.
Some shenanigans from JDG to start off, hoping for a pick onto Bin, but it's not going to happen as he plays it safe to start it off. And JDG, I mean, you mentioned it right, Ruler, the only one on JDG not to have a domestic title, and we talked about it at the start of the day. Shun, Elk, On, none of them have ever even made it to finals before, never mind having a title. The best out of those 3 being Elk, managed to get 3rd place back in 2021 when he was on WE. But it's Yagao and Bin, very much the veteran leadership within that roster of BLG.
So many good storylines. We could talk about mid versus mid. Just want to pause and note that JDG starting on this bottom side. Well, it looks to be mirrored here by Shun. Trying to get some information across as well. But just quickly speaking about some of those fun stories, you know, 369 versus Bin has been fun today, considering that 369 has been quite different to what we've seen. The laning phase has been a big plus apart from the last game. But Kitty, this time around, 369 pulled up the Gragas here, which is starting Comet. So I'm more curious about this matchup, considering that Bin blinded the Fiora.
Mr. Producers better just keep the camera on Fiora for this Game 4. I mean, every fan has been waiting for this Fiora, like you said, for 33 matches or something like that. So, Producers, move back up. But talking about the runes, we have the grass available for Bin. He wants to go for those tiny trades, and he is going to really get the health back when it does come to these Q trades, because Gragas, I know that you do have a bit of a second health line because you heal from the passive and the booze.
The booze? Correct.
The booze. Yeah, technically correct.
Just like me, for real.
So 369, I mean, as long as he doesn't overextend with that wave slow pushing towards Bin, he should be just fine. But later on in the game, this Fiora is going to get out of control.
Yagao goes aggressive, but
And
Kanavi's there to answer. Instant flash from Yagao. Kanavi now, plenty of opportunities to make things happen in the mid lane.
We talked about it coming early, but earlier than expected. Kanavi's going to be walking into Shun this buy, ready for blood, but Shun just backs off. Kanavi jumps in, a bit of a burst trade, but that'll be the end of it here, as Shun has more important matters up in this top side.
Yagao does get his wave pushed in eventually, but the flash burn at 2 minutes. JDG know what they're doing. They want to target Yagao for this Game 4. No mobility on the Syndra available anymore for the next 5 minutes. We're expecting just a flash charm from Knight, and that could perhaps just be first blood going to JDG's hands.
And we've been talking a lot about this top side, but we do have to mention Ruler as well. Earlier on, I think it was Game 2 of the series, we saw Ruler on the Jinx, got a couple of kills around a dragon fight, and just took over the game from that point. He can play so confidently alongside this Thresh as well. So you've got to keep your eyes on that Jinx when it comes to the fights. And you see the laning phase already going fantastically for him.
369 is already in this top lane because he is just using all of his abilities to gain that health back when Bin is just chilling because he has that grasp in his rune page.
We're looking to see how he expands it though. I mean, Kitty, I want to talk more about what Shun can do in this top lane, because against a Gragas, we know it's hard to dive. We know ganking his Gragas not always on his menu. So walk me through a little bit what Shun needs to do in this early game, and if it does involve topside here, because I'm curious about how BLG amp it up.
I think top lane is fine if you just leave it isolated. The Fiora is going to eventually scale into an absolute monster for that late game. So Shun should really put his attention towards Yagao, help him out a little bit. No flash available. What if Kanavi goes for a gank once again? Be there for the counter, or bring on along and then force a 2v3 in the mid lane. You could even force something in bottom lane and get the flashes and do the complete opposite and get the flashes for Ruler.
The big struggle that Shun is going to have trying to make anything happen in the solo lanes is the vision that we're seeing out from JDG. There were 4 wards across the 2 rivers just a moment ago. I think one of them died since I started talking. But it feels like BLG, they're going to be spotted no matter what they're doing. Shun will be able to find himself a Scuttle Crab at the bottom side. Ruler are missing. Be a little cautious.
It's great what makes JDG so proactive, right? We know they're a very explosive team in the early game. We know they're individually very sound.
Oh, they're here.
Team's vision is part of it. A stretch line starts us off. Hang on, the flash as well. BLG open up with the bloody gates.
I mean, missing, he's going to be on the side of a milk carton at this point because he is gone.
No vision for JDG, and they finally get punished for pushing in their wave so fast. I mean, Kanavi was hovering around, but he was just a few seconds too late and missing guess. Caught out, and the first blood goes into Nautilus's hands. It's not terrible, but still, JDG, On, and Shun are online for this Game 4.
Fantastic little play on the bottom side from BLG. And we are still even in gold despite that kill, despite first blood going the way of BLG. But Shun, with that buy, we know how proactive he loves to be. We know how much he likes to dictate the pace of the game, and that's what we really want to see, especially after Game 3 going so well for BLG.
Yeah, this is just the replay. I believe the ward was available, so he just kind of walked up and didn't expect Shun to be there as he was stabilized, trying to go for the hook, and unfortunately the Nautilus and Thresh mashup kind of goes like this, where you can't walk, you can't move when you're going for the Q, and Nautilus responds with his one, and you just die as a result of that.
And look, with that first blood going to BLG, we will say that JDG, we come back for the replay, are the ones taking the dragon for now. So not all doom and gloom. And You know, Munch, you were talking a little bit before about this gold lead for JDG despite that first blood. I'm looking at top, bit of a CS lead there. I'm looking at mid, CS lead there as well. Lanes aren't too bad here for Jingdong.
This is really bad. The top lane is completely frozen for 369. And eventually he is going to run out of mana and he has no other choice but to be overextended. And you see Shun making his way towards his top side because this Gragas is a little bit out of position.
Yeah, and the second you say it, we see Shun making his way over, right? He's hungry for it. He knows exactly what you're talking about. Won't find anything for now. 369, sorry. Just decides to go for the recall, head back to base. And this is the big difference that we've seen in 369 developing since he joined JDG, right? I mean, famously criticized on Top Esports for being a bit of a coin flip player. That, you know, the meme of him rolling 3s or rolling 9s. Feels like this year he has grown up a bit, you know?
I don't know if you saw in the play-by-play or
Replay?
Replay. 369 had to ult the wave to stop the freeze. So man's getting a little bit desperate in the top lane. But On already constantly hovering this mid lane, exactly what we want to see from the support of BLG. But this wave been, I mean, maybe even a dive, but Kanavi is he.
Now, dropped there from JDG, so the no Shuns nearby. Kanavi is level 6 as well, so if 369 can bait this, even without the ulti, Bin could be in trouble, but he has his own. He's got flash, he's got outplay ability here.
Certainly has. There's the knockback. Bin in trouble, has flash available. Cyclone not going to be used though. Kanavi doesn't commit. I think maybe trying to hope to bait the flash out, but doesn't get it.
But that's what we know of Bin. Great temperament there, doesn't pull the trigger too early, holds onto the summoner. So Kanavi can't get too much done as the wave crashes in.
Now my question is, what is Shun going to do on the opposite side of the map? Because Kanavi did show in that top lane, Rift Herald spawning in 5 seconds. So Shun, I don't think he's going to be able to make his way there. Although On has already planted so much vision in this bottom side. They can look for a 4-man dive in this bottom lane for that Herald exchange.
And you can see Missing was very aware of that fact, using the lantern to spot out the red buff there. Like, are we about to be dived? Are we about to die ourselves? No, it's Knight in trouble in the mid lane, but walks out on the top side, has the Spirit Rush available. Herald started up, but I don't know if JDG can commit to this.
And Ahri's going to be hard to catch here as On's moving into position, but 369's angle is huge. Yagao going to be caught out, the flash body slam. He's rolling 9 today again. Explosive card sends him into the team, but the cease and desist follows him up. 369 takes so long to die though.
And now the rest of the reinforcements are here. Knight already with a double kill in the fight, and he wants a little bit more than Charm. Answer with the dredge line. Rocket goes wide from Ruler. It'll just be the 2 for JDG.
And JDG somehow, they just win a 3v4. I mean, your support wasn't there. And 369, like you said, rolling 9s. This Gragas putting so much CC onto Yagao, not seeing the vision for this Gragas, finding the flank, and he got instantly deleted.
And Casa must be sitting at home or in the stadium if he's here, feeling absolutely rinsed seeing this, because 369 on Gragas again. It's a great sight when you consider that this man, this is his champion to fear, and this was a beautiful angle to take.
I mean, it's kind of a result of how the Fiora's wave was previously, but Knight engages everything, and Yagao did have the flash right now, but no vision set up properly for BLG because they did have everything towards that bottom side from Missing's Lantern. We didn't expect BLG to take this Herald, and I mean, JDG, I think they're the best team when they do play alongside that vision and play for the picks.
And I have to say again, guys, Ahri's ahead. Knight has a Dark Seal. This pick 3 games in a row now has been deadly. 2-0 start with the lost chapter.
Yeah.
This is Knight. Well, not champ, but one off.
Knight got second 2 finals in a row, and he ain't about to do it a third time. Gets the Ahri, 2 kills, 4 stacks. He wants to snowball again, and JDG have 3 people in the jungle. Shun, you gotta get out of
Wait,
dodge.
look at 369.
Wait a second.
Yagao flashing into the charm. It's beautiful stuff. Now waiting here as Yagao still in a lot of danger. Explosive cast used. 369 does a barrel roll.
In the meantime, Knight turns gold, and he really
out!
wants to save the lantern from Missing. And now Shun, the one in trouble instead, trying to escape, trying to get out of the top side of the play. I don't think 369 can chase him. Oh my goodness, they're going from strength to strength.
What a support. Flashing for the lantern to give to Knight. The one everyone wants in solo queue, and it's beautiful to see.
Here's the problem, though.
I mean, 369 very aggressive with this Gragas pick, constantly getting the wave pushed in and just roaming throughout this river and seeing if he can get angles. Yagao had flash here, but it didn't really matter. It felt like a...
I mean...
What do you rate this flash?
What do I rate it?
Battle 3.
Battle 1, I would say.
Battle
As
3?
Shun being rated a Battle 1 right now as well. Taken down. That was a bit mean. I take that back. But it's still a great pick for JDG. And yet more stacks for Knight. He's on 7 stacks at 11 minutes.
And starting to look real grim here with JDG finding that edge like they did game 1, game number 2, getting themselves off the ground.
I mean, BLG had the opportunity to deny the Wukong, something that Kanavi is so comfortable on, the most played champion for him in the playoffs, but giving JDG comfort, I mean, this is kind of expected in this early game.
Stolen stuff. Kanavi stolen.
This is the thing, right? When JDG find themselves controlling the early game and have tempo to work with, it's so difficult to play against them, especially when Knight has a champion that's got this level of skill expression, but On wants to express his own skill here. The CC chain too much for Missing.
I mean, that is just Missing getting caught out of position, kind of walking in a greedy path. Look at the vision set up by On. The triangle for this bottom side, this isn't your land anymore. You take the kill in the mid lane and you have to walk all the way back from bot through base.
And you can see with that pick off as well, it leads to Ruler playing epically safe because he knows BLG are on the bottom side. Dragon's being taken. A great pick off here for the team that needs to take us to a game number 5. And it might even open up for Elk to get a plate eventually as well.
And outside of the mid lane, getting that 1 kill over to be JDG, Fiora and Elk very happy to be eating those plates in their own lanes. I mean, JDG, they're mega focused on this Ahri and Wukong so far, but you can't just forget about this Fiora. I mean, he's 0-0-0 right now, but he's gonna really toss out some damage later on.
And that Syndra being finished is a big moment for him as well. But that's a huge power spike for the Fiora. 369 though, simultaneously finishing the Everfrost and his boots as the Herald comes down to the bottom side. And the goal, I don't know if Ruler actually got any of that. I think that just went to Kanavi.
Yep.
Something that's really worrying about this specific Thresh game, though, is that he's currently 0-2-0, and he has the mobility where we don't see, a TP from Bin in bottom lane.
But Dredgeline doesn't connect, so BLG are looking for a play. Bin committed. There's no dragon here. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Knight looking for Yagao. The charm connects.
Knight is a monster. Knight is just too good at League of Legends. That was disgusting.
And again, the duo of JDG rise to power. 369 is losing so many calories walking down to this mid lane. It's just beautiful to see this top esports duo synergize again as... Oh, come on!
It's going from bad to worse. It feels like BLG are falling apart at the seams right now. We talked about some of the players on BLG. They don't have experience on the final stage. They don't have experience in front of a crowd.
Another force from Shun.
Here we go.
Through under the turret. It's pretty dangerous though. The Feather Zoo Fly Elk finds a kill onto Ruler. It's good so far, but it's the turnaround. 369 again.
He's everywhere on the map. He goes from mid to bottom lane, and now he's going to go for more.
369 could do no wrong this game. Scatter the Week comes out from Yagao. They want to finish off the Gragas, and they will. Cyclone comes through from Kanavi in a 1v3 right here, and he's going to find a kill onto Yagao. In the meantime, Knight's arrived on the bottom side of the play. A double for Kanavi, and JDG can do no wrong.
10 stacks for Knight now as well. 4-0 and 2 to come in and join in the party. This is looking good for Jingdong.
I mean, Munch, we said about this earlier. I think Knight just has some buff when it comes to building that Magi's and getting a stack per minute. 14 minutes, 10 stacks, but we see BLG getting a little bit desperate because Yagao has been getting a lot of attention from the jungle, so they're just trying to make something work. But 369, man is a man of the people for this game 4. He is helping everyone out because he knows that he won't win against the Fiora, so he's giving resources to other people.
And crucially, on the minimap, you can see Bin is moving over. He's trying to get to this play because he just used his teleport in the previous play, didn't find anything off of it, but he's not split pushing in the meantime. He's not going for something else.
Exactly. This is why Fiora is such a hit or miss, because you need to play the Fiora perfectly. You can't just be mind controlled and play towards the 5v5 where you're not going to offer as much as a Gragas. The CC just is uncomparable. And
it's crazy because the lane itself for Bin, he's been sticking around for quite a while, but 369 is doing what he does best, playing with the rest of his team, syncing up. 369 is known for not having the greatest laning phase this split, but then having beautiful skirmishing and team fighting, as with JDG so far, 6 out of 8 kill participation. He feels like another jungler right now that JDG are utilizing.
You're telling me this Gragas in the jungle so far, Hysterics? You sure about that?
It feels like a jungle.
Outside of the smite, what else makes him separate from Kanavi? Because I think he's been ganking more than Kanavi. The Herald is going to get started by JDG, so Knight needs to live this.
And he will. He will. He's got the Spirit Rush. He's walked away from the tower. Maximum respect coming out from JDG. I guess it was optimal, as he does survive the play.
And the toughest thing about giving this Ahri and Wukong over to JDG, it's so hard to force plays on the side where you know you're trading the Herald, but for what? Because Knight, he's so slippery. Flash available, Spirit Rush available, and Shin, if you're not too careful, I mean, you might end up under tower with that ultimate.
Charm's going to connect on, gets out with the dredge line though. Nice little buffer here as JDG are getting very frisky around the 50-second mark of this third drag.
Oh, your man's 369 is making his way downtown again. Spotted on a ward though.
Yeah, ward goes down in the end. So he has to just back away. And we'll actually be matching Yagao up in the top side as Knight happy to go up against Bin. And I kind of like this from JDG, right? There's not really any world where Bin can close the gap and get a kill on tonight. 369 can happily just clear the waves against Yagao.
He's buying a Magi.
Is he?
Oh, he's not. No.
The cameraman saw it and was like, maybe as he teleports in. At least he does have the Zonyas. I mean, still, a 2-item Ahri here, Kitty, that's huge.
Yeah, and all you need to do is just toss out the CC because this Jinx is going to pop off once she gets that reset. I honestly think 369 going the Everfrost and Comet as well, he does a ton of damage as well. So it's not all up to Knight to carry for this game, but of course having that Magi available is just going to be extra fun for this game 4, of course. But 369 making his way down, has the flash available, so Yagao needs to play very carefully because we see the Syndra struggling a lot in these team fights.
Keep your eyes on Elk as well. He can't afford to get caught. That was the reputation he used to have many years ago. Feels like he's grown beyond that point. Missing, hook over the wall, on in trouble. The charm lands as well. Scatter the weak to deny Kanavi's follow-up though.
Look at the zoning coming through from JDG. They now have the river to themselves.
It's a team fighting throw once again. I mean, you could be going for that top tier 1, which Bin does. Oh, it's not even Bin, it's Yagao realizing and putting the Syndra in that top lane. But it kind of seems like BLG is just playing into JDG's hands, and now they just got the second dragon for free.
I love missing being aggressive there. Trying to predict his old AD carry as well. If he'd found that.
I know you.
Oh, it would have been so beautiful to see it out. Dodges it away, keeps himself safe. So it's just a Drake in trade for the tower at the top side.
Not only that, a 2k gold lead. I should say that's going to even out a bit with Yagao getting that said turret, but still, JDG holding somewhat of the driver's seat here in this game as they're even going to find themselves bottom lane turret with the help of Knight as well. So we just see Saw back up to that 2018 minutes here. And now I got to ask you again, Kitty, where are we going with this game? Because we know that Rule is worth talking about as these items get picked up. We know that Knight already has 2 items here as well. Their side lanes are looking manageable against this Fiora competition.
Yeah, this Fiora seems a little bit quiet for the time being because we didn't see a lot of solo kills happening when it does come to Bin vs 369, like we expected out of the last best of 5 where these two teams met. But Rule are very happy with how the game is going, securing that second dragon into their pockets as well. So you don't have that pressure of the soul point, which is going to be Chemtech. Not too bad because I guess you have a lantern and you heal a little bit with the overheal from Jinx, but of course it's better to have the soul than not to have the soul.
Certainly is.
Wise words.
Yeah, I can agree with that one. I think we can all get behind
guys.
that. It's definitely better to have it than not. Better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick, as my dad would say.
Mine too. Both our dads were poked in the eyes, apparently.
Apparently.
What a small world.
A universal dad thing.
Yeah.
When I was 14 years old, I actually got stabbed in the eye with a pool cue by accident.
Oh, did you?
I am lucky to have my right eye.
Wow, you are indeed.
And
the
that
worst
was because I was an idiot. We were jousting on PC chairs.
I did that with my finger, but you know that's not as bad as a pool cue as well. Joe, good to have you here, and at least seeing League of Legends with 2 eyes here today. Because this game 4, we're waiting on the brink of the edge.
And potentially seeing history with 2 eyes as well, right? Because JDG, this is their 5th finals in the last few years. And it does feel like they could be the biggest team of the last few years. I don't know why I kept the narrative going just with teamfight intonation.
Beautiful stuff. Good technique to be sure. This double play-by-play broadcasters. Look, again, if BLG can take us to a game 5, it makes history. If JDG can find a win here, guys, it also makes history. It's back-to-back. It's really the sign that we are looking at new emperors. Again, to use that key word, because JDG have now been dominant for quite a while. They have been like that level of RNG, EDG domination coming up in a short history of time. That's what makes this so special. That Jingdong and now this organization are like, hang on, in the past 5 years, this team has won way too much.
Way too much indeed, but as a fan, I am more than happy to take that. But talking about the next up-and-coming major objectives, I think I got a flashback suddenly. So the last time 369 played Gragas, I believe, it was still in the best-of-5 series up against BLG, but he went in, flashed in, landed a 3-man knock-up on the Gragas, but he didn't have the ultimate available, and he got instantly deleted by Elk on the same champion. So if 369 does mess up somehow mechanically, that could be a huge shift in goal, but so far so good. But my eyes are still on this Fiora, who is only a little bit up in CS, but we'll have to wait and see.
It's been a very quiet game for Bin so far, but like you mentioned before, Fiora certainly ages well across the course of a game of League of Legends. He is. And a mid-tier one taken by JDG. It's been a slow and cautious game from JDG. They do have the lead. They've got a 3k gold advantage, but not trying to overforce things here. Playing with that Thresh. They've got Ruler and a Jinx who's just picking up items. They're quite happy to play this slowly.
Phantom Dancer now in the inventory. Navori Quick Blades there, matched by Elk as well. So we are into 2-item territory. Worth mentioning that Knight's still going towards his 3rd item instead of the Magi's here, which is a little bit disappointing.
This is getting really bad because we all look at the items and Ruler is making his way towards that 3rd, and we all know what a Jinx can do with that IE in his pockets. And I mean, BLG is kind of on a ticking time bomb here, as Bin isn't just, I mean, he gets a tower here, but Ruler is around the side.
Uh-oh, Bin may have overstayed for this one. 369 won't find the slow. And Bin walks away with his life just about. Now it's a little dicey, but he gets the tower. And that's what we've been talking about, right? We wanted Fiora in the side lane pressuring these towers.
Most definitely, and one by one, she will work towards that inhibitor and the Nexus, and by the 30-minute mark, that is where Fiora gets really annoying to deal with. But Yagao has slowed down a little bit. He has been just chilling and getting that item online, which is going to be the Banshee's Veil for the 2nd item, so it is going to have a lot of survivability when it comes to these JDG picks from the charms of the Ahri.
Honestly, Yagao having a very quiet game for himself. 1-4, like Knight very much having the advantage.
But let's be real, that started through the laning phase, through the flash burn at level 3 by Kanavi. He's made a quiet game out of Yagao and the Syndra. Now we have to see though as we get towards that hook landing onto Elk. He's caught out. This explosive custom doesn't land as well, but the root, the feathers fly, and missing is down as Kanavi starts spinning with a 3-man, the Everfrost as well. Knight's chasing him down.
It's 2 for Ruler as well, and a 3rd goes down. As Yagao under the tower, and the zap finishes the job. A triple for Ruler as he pops off again.
JDG's team fighting overall in this series has just been better.
Forget the Dragon, they're just going to go for Baron.
This is huge.
Baron, and then they're going to go for more towers. I mean, JDG don't plan on stopping.
That fight could very well be the nail in the coffin. The gold lead now at 4K. 369 sitting by the Dragon while Baron goes down. The gold is going to skyrocket off that beautiful force.
Guys, 4v5, the fight started off with BLG getting a pick onto Missing, but that's all their spells. Oh, well, it starts with a Thresh hook, but they get Missing as a response. And the Gragas also goes wide, but what is going to kill Ruler from this point onwards? Because you're lacking a member, which Fiora isn't here already. 3v5, 3v4, how are you going to play this? Because once the Jinx gets a reset, it's pretty much over.
And, you know, Missing goes down to start the play off, but that hook onto Elk burns the cleanse, burns the flash, and burns the feather storm. Like, there is nothing left. And then you see Kanavi and Knight just chase him down. Elk couldn't even function in that fight.
You get to a really awkward situation where the Jinx does have an extra bit of range advantage compared to the Xayah. So in these team fights, unless Ruler is mispositioning and walking towards the enemy team,
Oh, hook comes in.
It follows onto On. He's just dying. He's just dredge line back in. He's got nowhere else to go.
They could just snowball this. Honestly, they've still got the Baron in their favor. Bin trying to do something in the side lane, but 369 just kicks him out.
But his base is melting in the meantime. JDG threatening here with the Baron. I mean, we keep seeing pick after pick, and now that Ruler has 3 items, how scared should you be as BLG?
Very, very scared. And hold my hands, everyone, because we might look at a closing game very soon. Dragon and Baron are both unavailable because it is going to be in 4 minutes. But we do see this Fiora struggling to deal with the Baron minions in the side lane, and 369 even burning the ultimate to absolutely shut down any win angle for BLG. And they're in a sticky situation, to say the least.
And I know I've talked about it a lot in this series, but I've got to bring it back to Knight versus Yagao, the Pingxiang brothers, if you will, going up against each other. It's Yagao who had the finals head-to-head. He's 2-1 in final series against Knight. And Knight replacing him on JDG. And I mean, multiple games now, just dominating in this fight.
And at the start of the season, we called this an upgrade, and it's coming into fruition. We talked about Knight being a better player overall and being much higher in the standings of the LPL. We're being shown it here again on this Ahri pick that has dominated throughout the series, as BLG are quickly losing space in their own jungle. They're 6,000 gold behind. Their base stays standing, but for how much longer? As JDG are also on soul point. They're taking all the jungle away, so that BLG is just getting no gold.
They're just slowly suffocating with this Baron buff, and we see a lot of hesitation from both Xun and On. I mean, On was just caught out of position in that mid lane and gave a free kill over to JDG, but honestly, even if you do land CC onto JDG, you don't have the damage to one-shot them, and that is why On and Xun is finding it so hard to do anything around the map.
JDG trying to break this base open. 10 seconds on the Baron as On is caught once again. Whoa. And will just be rinsed.
Oh,
Cyclone comes in. They're looking for more.
It's the grand final in the balance here as the unleashed power from Yagao is good. They actually find Kanavi, who oversteps in the enemy base. Maybe a bit too cocky here as JDG won't find anything further. Bin finally getting something on the map.
We finally see Fiora things coming out from Bin as he looks for a tier 2. And in the meantime, it's a 1-for-1 trade with a jungler going down. This favors BLG massively.
Yep, BLG more than happy to take that, and this Fiora is putting a lot of work in that side lane. And Kanavi, I think he got a little bit too greedy. He was so close to winning one more fight and it would have been over for BLG, but sometimes overplaying is your biggest mistake.
Look at the replay here, just as JDG go deep into the enemy base after a hook land.
I mean, killing Nautilus at this point is just a reset for Ruler and Knight to work off, but with the Xayah ultimate being burnt here and Knight's abilities not connecting correctly, it was a 2v3 and you just didn't have the damage to finish anyone off. Bit of an overstep. 369 did join in as well, but with the TP as well, and he didn't have an impact.
You look at that replay, I feel like Missing and Ruler are just stood at the other side of the wall like,
huh?
What do you want me to do, bro? Like, I can't jump over that wall with you. Kanavi kind of abandoned. Knight tried to help as much as he could. But now, I mean, JDG, even off the back of that, still very much in control of the game. You can see massive gold lead in their favor. BLG, they need more moments like that if they want to come back, if they want to push us to a 5th game.
The underdogs now against the wall as JDG continue to push into the enemy jungle. Nothing up on the map for a minute 30. Timers might coincide, but JDG are still wreaking havoc now in the top lane.
They need to not get caught once this tower falls, because once Jinx gets excited, that could be an angle for JDG to start while Yagao is showing in the bottom lane. Baron spawning in 1 minute. I'm sure both teams will opt into that instead of going for the Dragon Soul, which is Chemtech.
I'd say it's been a disappointingly quiet game from Bin, but when double neutral objectives come online, when you can play around map play, that's when Fiora is going to come online. Remember, Fiora, this is the signature for Bin, right? This is the champion that he got a pentakill, the only pentakill in World Finals history on, and Kanavi wants some kills.
What?
He's in a 2v1 and he just solo kills Yagao! What am I witnessing?
An absolute domination from JDG's jungler, King Kanavi, for a reason. This guy has had it on for the whole series, it feels like.
Yagao has the flash available as well. He didn't even expect the Wukong to just one-shot him.
And Bin was backing in front of him and was just like, wait, you want me to do something about that, bro? What's the deal?
Well, they're going to do something about this Baron, which is going to be spawning in 20 seconds, and Yagao not having that tempo available. TP, so maybe he can look for a sneaky flank on the Syndra, but it seems like JDG opting into the Baron, Dragon first.
Take it down quick as well. I mean, again, rulers items we've talked about. BLG, the time is 10 seconds extra on the Baron.
It certainly is, and this is just going to be Soul given over. Yagao not back alive. There we go, Chemtech Soul taken by JDG. Not necessarily everyone's favorite Soul, but a Soul nonetheless. And to quote an analyst I know, you'd take a Soul over not having a Soul.
That is true. Those are wise words.
It's been a long 3 days, but I couldn't have done it without you guys.
But now, just going over to the Baron as well. And I mean, BLG surely have to fight this. Can they just concede? I mean, they might be conceding whether they like it or not.
Well, Yagao might need to find something over the wall. Shun might need to steal its objective bounty, but it is the game, the series in the balance. Meanwhile, Bin's getting turrets, but Baron not there. Shun, Vault Breaker over the wall, trying, but won't get it. In the end, Shun goes in a little bit late. He's going to be taken down. Over the wall, Kanavi finds himself a stretch line depth charge. They're trying to get out of there.
And look at this, more from Knight as well. In the meantime, Bin denied on the other side of the map. Kanavi keeping Himself safe, dodges away from the CC. It's a 1 for 0. It's a Baron for JDG, and it's 369 just vibing in this bottom lane.
As you would expect, Bin still trying to make some havoc on the bottom side while it all goes on. Decides not to commit the TP. JDG still get the objective, still get the goal. That's double objective back-to-back as well.
And this is going to be so tough to be BLG because you are so dependent on this Fiora in the side lane, but once the Baron minion is buffed, I mean, this Fiora is struggling to wave clear, and this replay of the Baron, it was very unfortunate because he just went in and missmited. Sometimes you just miss the 50-50 and he went in too late, and JDG picking up the free kill as well, shooting on this Vi. I mean, once you get to the late game and you have created that early lead that you so desperately need, she really falls off.
Bin getting his signature champion, but being denied by 369. That can't pick Gragas, working wonders in the side lane. And now JDG on the cusp. And remember, this is a team that was setting up as maybe the best team in modern LPL history with their ratio of winning, with how many finals they've been to. And this had been their second one back if they could just finish the job.
Their new reign moments away, trying to break into the base with the Baron. Good scout of the week, but BLG the ones taking poke. Knight is such a threat.
And Bin has a hole breaker, so he
he's
can't come.
Kanavi's been in this base before this game and it didn't look good, but this time he'll be okay. Inhib tower down in the mid lane. Knight surviving on the top side of the map as well, and Bin has to retreat.
You can see how hungry BLG are. Elquen super aggressive on top of Knight, trying to find this pick off, but BLG manages to get them out. However, Bin is at death's door on the bottom side as well, or rather the base's door, unable to find anything.
And it's so tense. BLG desperate for it. Kanavi goes
Kanavi?
in with the Cyclone. He finds himself another solo kill, surely on Flashes out though. Keeps himself alive. Lantern is there for Kanavi, who's been an absolute playmaker today. The Banshees barely keeping Yagao safe.
Put missing into that list as well. Each hook keeps on landing as he takes away the Banshees at the very least. Kanavi in the base won't get scattered the week, but JDG have sent BLG packing for the time being to open the base.
Oh my God,
Flash
Knight!
from Knight, the Spirit Rush as well. He won't get the charm, but JDG can taste the end. It's only a moment away.
It's enough to open up the inhibitor. That's what he was looking for. Breaking the base. That's 2 inhibs down. And 369 keeping Bin at bay this entire time. He's not even touched the tower.
Yeah, Bin has opted into the hole breaker, so BLG is full sending it with this side lane win position, and all they need to do is hold up on the base, but now with 2 inhibitors down, they're going to work towards that 3, and I don't know if they can clear the minions fast enough.
It's a full-on yoink there from Kanavi as Bin tries to leave the jungle. And what a game. What a game. Just immaculate from JDG, right? Like 16-7. And crucially, I think a lot of people have this expectation of JDG that they're going to fight all the time, but that's not necessarily true. They get the lead and they maintain the lead. That has been the MO for JDG. And this kind of immaculate gameplay is what we've come to expect from our team.
What makes them a champion as well. Again, so close to being able to run into the base and find that final fight. We've got double inhibitor down. Elders up in 1 minute 50. 1 minute 50, excuse me. That's top left, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. The slang comes through as BLG's last inhibitor turret is now threatened.
JDG want to make it happen. They can just keep this going, right? They can play it slow on the next wave while the supers start to crash in. You've got 2 supers up in that top lane. Bin very good at dealing with those big minions, though. Perhaps could send him up to the top side. He does have TP available.
Scout of the week not going to land. Knight goes in. Charm doesn't connect. On a knife's edge, it feels like it's again. Banshee is going to be used this time from Knight. Descendants doesn't connect, nor does Dredge line. Ruler steps up. This Jinx, a massive threat. The turret getting chipped down. Huge as Bin now has to deal with the top wave.
I mean, the supers are hitting onto the Nexus towers. This is death's door for BLG. They've got to make something happen.
I don't know how you manage this. 369 now joins in as well as Hex Flash going to be used on. Starts with the Dredge line here. Flash away from Kanavi. Charm lands though as Death Sentence. Not this time. BLG still holding on. JDG can't get the finishing touch.
Ruler hitting the tower a little bit is missing. Uses that redemption. It's an extended stare off, but Ruler wants to end it. Just a couple more autos away from ending that tower.
1 more wave, and Ruler's going to get excited and massacre BLG. BLG need to do something, but Bin, he's grouping, and he has a hole break. I don't know how this is going to turn out.
Again, they showed the TP ward on the bottom side, but that's now expired, so he has to stay put.
And look at the control JDG has right now with 25 seconds until Elder Dragon is on the map.
BLG, Cyclone, straight away gets into the back line, and Ruler steps forward. A World's 80 carry showcasing again. As on the back line, Shun goes in, but he's by himself. He'll buy some time. but Jing Dong are capitalizing massively. Bin finds a fight in the back line, but Ruler's still alive.
It's a 2 for 2. This is pretty good for BLG, honestly. Kanavi down as well as Shun. Knight taken out of the picture, losing all of his Magi stacks. Perhaps they can hold on, but Ruler still going strong here. The TP, that's going to be a third inhib. And perhaps that silver lining's gone.
He's excited as well, as Kitty was saying. Once that turret goes down, it's huge. Inhibitor counts as well. Ruler stepping up into Bin. Half HP into the Nexus turrets. Munch, this could be it if they keep forcing.
They're not done just yet. Another reset for Ruler as he looks for the second Nexus tower. Has that lantern for safety as well, but has to back away. The minions have spawned, and Bin buying space for his team. Riposte to get himself to safety, but the hook is there. No riposte available, and Ruler stacking up that auto attack. Ruler gets the kill, looking for a second, and looking for the championship.
His first domestic title in the LPL and his first split. The new Emperors showcased in Jing Dong. They now hold the legacy in the LPL as we bow to JDG once again.
Our new Emperor rises in Jing Dong Gaming. A magnificent victory here today. Domination across 3 maps. And BLG shown that the winner's bracket was just a blip on the radar.
And that the #1 seed means all. Kanavi used to this feeling, but Ruler in the LPL is not. But boy, does he deserve it. You look across this roster and you think the raw talent going to MSI as our first seed is bloody scary.
And they meet all expectations of the fans coming into the spring being clear favorites. They deliver, and they will be going as first seed, like you said, Hysterics.
And you know, you mentioned that Ruler now with a domestic title. They walked onto the stage as only 4 domestic champions. They walk away as 5. And a 3rd championship as well for Homie, who will take himself that 3rd trophy. You see JDG stepping on up to the Silver Dragon, and a well-deserved victory for the Emperors of the LPL.
We turn a leaf into our new legacy. You've heard of the RNGs, the EDGs, but JDG now setting the tone in the recent times as we hand it over to Christina for the translation on stage.
Congratulations